Today we're taking a field trip to Pittsburgh's East End to visit the Yoga Hive. Come on, following me.
This long it is.
He doesn't travel with his makeup artist.
He'll do that in editing. Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Powell from Wellness Pittsburgh, and today we are at the Yoga Hive with Kimberly, the owner.
Hi, thanks for having me, Dr. Powell.
You're welcome, Kimberly. So we're going to talk about chiropractic and yoga today. What do they have in common, and how do they both support each other?
That's right. Support is a good word because I think yoga comes first and chiropractic comes second.
Chicken or the egg? So as we know, chiropractic deals with getting pressure off the spinal nerves by realigning the spine. So something I see a lot in practice are a lot of tight muscles and then a lot of other weak muscles. And yoga is a great way to balance all that out.
So yoga is all about lengthening, strengthening, and grounding down into your feet, which is one reason why it complements so well with the practice of chiropractic. Now, here we are with Dr. Powell, so I'm really excited to be able to show you ways in which we can both reduce tension, lengthen the spine, strengthen the spine and the core, and find ways to really get grounded in the feet to support your chiropractic visit. So I'm going to show you one of my favorite chest openers. This is the antidote to leaning and hunching over your computer all day long, and I'm sure the reason you go see Dr. Powell is for all of that neck and upper back tension, one of the reasons. So Dr. Chris, put your right hand up at 1 o'clock and bring your left hand right to the wall at the hip line. Dr. Chris is going to take a big breath in to lengthen his spine, ground his heels, and on his exhale he's going to take a turn to his left, toes point to the left. And you'll notice he can start to shift the hips and the chest. And he's gonna get this awesome stretch in his pectoral muscles. Dr. Powell, how are you feeling?
This feels good.
Good. And by the way, everyone, you can come back to center and let's just go right into the other side real quick. He'll do left arm up to 1 o'clock, right hand at his hip line. And notice again that length, we go for the length, the strengthening, rooting down through the heels first. Then as Dr. Chris turns to the right, you can get that nice big stretch across the chest. Thanks, Dr. Powell. All right, everyone, let's talk about child's pose because this is one of our most foundational and basic yoga poses. It is also an excellent way to stretch through the low back and get length and extension through the spine. We are going to demonstrate, but I think first Dr. Powell is going to tell us why child's pose is also beneficial from a chiropractic standpoint.
That's right. Child's pose is great. It's one of the most recommended stretches that I give to my clients. It's really good at stretching the low back muscles and kind of decompressing the spine, almost pulling it so it creates a little more space in the discs between the vertebrae. And it's really easy to do.
You don't necessarily need a yoga mat, by the way. You can do this right on your living room floor or bedroom floor. So you'll notice Dr. Powell took his hips back toward his heels. And if anyone has issues with their knees, just roll up a towel or a blanket underneath of your knees or even under your ankles. Back here, he can bring his toes together to touch if he wants to, or he can leave them a little bit apart. And then from there, this is the part that stays heavy and rooted because his stretch is going to move forward as he walks his hands slowly forward. Now pause right there for 1 second, Dr. Powell. Notice that there's a block right where his head would land. You might not need a yoga block, but for those of you that carry all that extra tension in the shoulders and the neck, that is going to be perfect for you. So let's go the rest of the way down. All right, so Dr. Powell actually does not need the block under his forehead, so I'm going to ask him to move the block out to the side so he can rest his forehead down, and you'll notice what that does. We see this nice long line as he breathes in and out. Nice deep breaths all the way through the low back and the mid back, and then notice up here this length coming all the way through the neck. Now, one other thing we can do right here is add in a side stretch for the low back and waist. So Dr. Powell, please put your belly, your abdomen on your right side and walk your hands over to the right. Now look what happens here. His hips stay grounded. This is wonderful. And he's pulling, tractioning through his left hand, and we're creating the length all the way down the side, waist, all the way along the ribs. and then even out through the armpit, tricep, and along the long line of the arm. You can come back to center, Dr. Powell. You'll of course do this right and left, but I think we should let Dr. Powell come up and see how he's doing. Come on up as you walk your hands back up, slowly sitting. And how was that?
Feels great. And something that's really important that Kimberly brought up is the breath. Breathing like that, you can literally feel your entire spine expand and stretch out. So the breath is very important, as somebody taught me with yoga, being able to keep your breath through these poses.
That's right. And notice how I talked about Dr. Powell using his breath, not just in his chest, but really using it all throughout the body, and that's really important as we work our way through the yoga poses. I think we should take a look at one more yoga pose, and we're gonna look at Cobra. So Dr. Powell, onto your stomach, please. And remember, you can always use a blanket underneath of your hips or your abdomen if you have bony hip prominences that poke out. So let's bring your hands underneath of your shoulders and your fingertips. As you notice, the fingertips are right here, right under the shoulders. Okay, and then I'm gonna ask him to put his forehead down. One of the things that does, again, is lengthen the neck. From there, with a light pressure down into the yoga mat through the forehead, Dr. Powell can engage through his lower abdomen, his core, so he can draw the core muscles up and in. And really important before you lift up is to draw the shoulder blades, the scapula back and in. Look what that did. He's creating so much amazing space through the neck and the chest. All right, and now feet stay heavy, and he'll slowly lift up. And he doesn't have to come up very far to get the benefits. Lengthening, strengthening here. I'm gonna ask Dr. Powell to keep his chin and neck long, but that then he can keep drawing the shoulders and the elbows back. Go ahead and lay back down, Dr. Powell. From here, guess where we could go next? Child's pose. He can curl his toes under, bring his bum all the way back to his heels, stretching out through the spine. This feels so good after Cobra. Nice breath. Watch his body. You can see his breath filling all the way up in the torso. Good. And I think we're gonna crush his yoga dream and make him come right back out. Come on up, Dr. Powell. Tell us a little bit about why Cobra is important in strengthening the low back.
I'm glad you asked. So with child's pose, you can see we're kind of bent forward. That's putting your lumbar spine or your low back into flexion. And then Cobra is coming into extension or backwards. So you're getting that forward, backward stretch. And that flow that Kimberly had me do coming from Cobra back into child's pose, that flow feels really good for your low back. Well, I hope that was helpful for you, just going over some simple things that you can do at home to start incorporating more yoga into your life. I refer all of my clients to yoga, whether it's doing it on the internet, coming into a great studio like the Yoga Hive where you can get more one-on-one personal attention. It has been so beneficial not only in my personal life, but in the lives of my clients. And it's not just about stretchiness or flexibility. Yoga is really about power. It's about stability. It's been a great addition to the care that we provide in our office.
That's right. And I'm so glad that Dr. Powell brought up the stability and the strength element. In my yoga is therapy practice, where I am a yoga medicine therapeutic specialist, I see tons of clients who are always angling for the flexibility element of yoga. And what is critically important is that we also build the strength at the same time. And I know Dr. Powell and I have talked about what happens when there's too much flexibility or not enough support in the body. That is exactly when everything goes, I don't know, what do we say, to pieces. So I refer many of my private clients to chiropractors just like Dr. Powell to help with that idea of keeping the length, keeping the body aligned so that we can build strength and flexibility within the body. Thank you so much for having me today. This was the most fun and I loved it.
Well, I'm glad that you joined us, and we hope that you guys got something great out of this video. If you did, as always, please feel free to share this with somebody who you think may benefit from it.
I'm Dr. Chris Powell, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.